Well, I grew up in Lapeer, which is a pretty conservative part of Michigan. As growing up, I was picked on a lot because I was smaller and I just kind of was different than most of the other kids around. I was a junior and we had to do a research paper, and so I decided to do gays in the military because it was a very hot topic at the time. And I actually had someone I had known since kindergarten come up to me and tell me that all gay people should get put on an island and the island should get blown up. That was like shocking to me because I had never experienced someone saying something that hurtful to me before. So I was like, wow, I'm really in for an interesting experience in my lifetime if this is, how I am. And then I became very depressed, and I had an amazing teacher my senior year, and she took me, she was like, what's going on? And so she's like, you don't have to tell me. She's like, just write me a letter, and then, we'll deal with it, and then I'll write you a letter back. So I pondered it for quite a while because it freaked me out. And so I was like, you know what, who cares? What's the worst that's gonna happen? And so I wrote her this 4-page letter and just kind of spilled it all out. And I dropped it off on her desk and I left for the day. And I came in the next day and I was like, do you have a letter for me? And she's like, no. I happened to have her when we would break for lunch. She's like, will you stay in from lunch so we can talk? And I was like, okay. And so she took me into the separate room away from everyone, and she's like, just to let you know, there's nothing wrong with that. She's like, you are gonna be fine. You're an amazing person. You just need to figure out what's gonna be best for you. Get the hell out of town, go find yourself. And it changed my life very drastically because it made me have a more positive spin on it. And then after that experience, I came out to this girl I had known since first grade. And her dad had happened to be a pastor, and she was very religious. And when I came out to her, we were sitting in her car, and she happened to have her Bible with her, and she sat it down on me and was pounding it on my lap and talking to me about God. And I was just like, okay. And then she wrote me this letter, and it was 4 pages. And the first page and a half, 2 pages was all Bible verses. And the letter started out this isn't a war between me or you against the world. It's a war between you and God, and your soul will be the price to pay. And then it proceeded to say, that we could still be friends, but I could never talk to her about my sexuality. And I was and it just ended. I ended that friendship because of that. And it just really opened my eyes to how closed-minded people really were. You know what I mean? You realize very quickly that, you have to be prepared for anything. Because I wasn't really prepared to go through some of the stuff that I went through, but by going through that, it's made me a lot more stronger. It's made me be much more comfortable in my own skin now. And it helped, and I had some other issues with alcohol and drugs, and I went into, finding a spiritual awakening, and I had an amazing one. And it isn't based completely on Christian beliefs. It's more of do the next right thing. Treat people with dignity, respect, and kindness. Don't try to judge. And I fall from that all the time, but I always have to remind myself, that you are a good person. You need to do the next best thing for yourself.